This entire case has sent shockwaves across the country. A day after the body of a 29-year-old woman by the name of Mahalakshmi, chopped into 30 pieces, was recovered from a refrigerator in Bengaluru, the police have now provided some significant updates on this entire case. The Bengaluru Police Commissioner has confirmed that the prime accused in the case has been identified and efforts are underway to arrest this individual. As per sources, the victim wasn't murdered elsewhere because the police did not find a single stain of blood inside the room from where her body was recovered. The National Commission for Women, meanwhile, has directed the Karnataka police to expedite the arrest of everyone involved and urged them to ensure a thorough and time-bound investigation. The Bengaluru police are actively pursuing the prime suspect, having identified 4 individuals who frequently visited the victim. While 3 of these visitors have been taken into custody, they have since been ruled out as suspects. But to apprehend the main suspect, the police have dispatched 2 teams to West Bengal and Odisha, as the suspect is believed to have fled to one of these states. My colleague Neha spoke exclusively with Karnataka Home Minister G. Parmeshwara, who gave an insight into the probe. Take a look.
No, there are some clues they have found out, and some persons they have identified. So they are zeroing in on some people.
Yes, sir.
And very soon, they will come to some conclusion. And definitely we will arrest those persons who are responsible for it. We have formed 4 teams to investigate this, and definitely we will conclude as early as possible. Maybe in a day or 2.
So you've met with the family of the victim as well, sir? The police officers have?
Not yet, because a lot of investigation is going on. So, I don't want to meet them at this point of time, because the police is looking at various things. So once that is done, then naturally I'll meet them.
Okay. All right, sir. Thank you so much. Well, that was the Karnataka Home Minister there, of course, talking to us about the gruesome murder of a young woman. Her body parts were stacked inside a refrigerator, remember? And the police currently, with 4 teams that have been formed, are on the lookout for the accused, and hopefully he would be nabbed at the earliest.
Now, in this entire case, what's shocking and saddening is that the police have resorted to victim shaming. Police sources have claimed that the victim had multiple affairs and that they're probing whether this could be the reason for the murder.
I already told that the prime suspect has already been identified. We have to physically arrest him. Only then we will know further details. At this stage, if I tell anything, it will be to the benefit of the accused, not to the public. So I refrain from giving any further details.
But he is from Bangalore. Is he from Bangalore? Is he from Bangalore or outside?
He is an outsider.
My colleague Neha is joining us from Bengaluru. She's been tracking the developments in this shocking case. Let me go across to her and understand where this probe has reached. Neha, this entire case has shocked the country. It has gripped the nation once again. It resembles the Shraddha Walkar case, which we've seen earlier. But as far as the probe is concerned, help us understand what's the latest that's happening.
Well, yes, Shreya, the police, of course, has got several crucial leads over here now. We are being told from top sources in the police department that they've identified the accused over here, and now it's just a matter of time before they go and nab him. 2 teams of the Bengaluru police have been sent outside the state as well to 2 of the eastern states now, primarily to try and pick up the accused from there, because they suspect that that's where his whereabouts currently are. Also, of course, this is quite crucial here, because this would now further lay the background for this entire case. What really went wrong with this victim and possibly one of the people that she was seeing over here, that's something that the police is currently probing. Remember, while she was married, of course, there was a lot of marital discord between her and her husband, prompting her to stay away from him. And while she was staying alone there, this heinous crime, in fact, has taken place. What has shocked the residents of this area is the fact that this is quite a residential area over there in Wiley Kaval in Bengaluru. Now, whether or not the crime took place there is something that the police hasn't exactly explicitly mentioned, but our sources suggesting that there was no blood that was found anywhere inside that house, prompting us to, of course, believe here that possibly the crime may have been committed somewhere else, and her body parts were later brought to this house and stacked inside that fridge. Either way, of course, this is something that's really gone on to send shockwaves down the spines of people of the city. The manner in which this brutality, this brutal crime, in fact, has been committed here. We'll really have to wait and see. What we're picking up from top sources in the police department as well as the Home Minister here is the fact that they are very close to, of course, nabbing this accused over here, and hopefully soon enough, once the accused here in concern is nabbed, that, we would, of course, be able to really ascertain why he went on to commit this heinous crime. Several teams of the police also that have been formed now to probe the various angles of this case, and soon enough, Shreya, there should be, of course, some big breakthrough in this case.
All right, Neha, thank you very much for joining us at the moment and getting us every detail of this entire investigation that's been happening currently. 2 teams of the Bengaluru police sent to Odisha and West Bengal. Let's also get in my guests on the broadcast today. I'm joined by Tahira Hasan, women's rights activist, and Nirmal Kaur, former DGP Jharkhand, joining us on the show. Good evening, namaskar to both of you. Tahira Hasan, let me begin with you. All of us are women and we'll understand where crimes of women are concerned, for some reason, victim shaming comes in. And that is what is happening here as well. It's shocking, it's absolutely concerning, and it is something that the police perhaps could have refrained from.
It's very shameful that police is saying that she had a multiple affairs. If she had multiple affairs, I'm saying, then too, does it give the right anybody to kill her brutally like that? Can take the law in their hand in the largest democracy, which is run by the constitution? Why there is no fear? Cops should tell why there is no fear of the police, of uniform in the people. This answer should come from their side. And this is we must assort, on this culture that blames victim, women especially, for the rape, their lifestyle, their dress code, and they must come out and tell. Then the school girls who were raped in school washroom by the cleaning staff, what kind of dress code they will suggest, and who is to blame there? This is mentally sick people who treat women and especially the girls also as a commodity. So stop treating women as a commodity. There are strong laws, they must be implemented properly. And I think in this case also, it's a heinous, spine-chilling crime, and people are talking like that. It's very shameful. I think action must be taken, because it is also written in the law which was made after the Justice Verma Committee was constituted after the Nirbhaya's heinous crime, that these type of remarks, if comes from the side of this police administration or something, they must be punished. Who has given them right to do this character
Let me get in Nirmal Kaur on this, Tahira Hasan. Nirmal Kaurji, you've heard, how it is attracting criticism. It is not something that we haven't heard before. This has happened before. We've also talked about, the sensitivity that training that is being given to our police forces. Yet these comments, these remarks keep coming in time and again in such cases.
Gee, that is true. The thing is, this kind of a reaction or this kind of saying it deflects from the gravity, the heinous of the heinous crime, such gruesome, really blood-curdling crime. And this, if you make a light comment like that because she had many affairs or she was asking for it, this kind of a thing deflects, from the gravity of the situation. It's a very serious situation. It's a crime, plain and simple crime. It has to be solved professionally, and the kind of punishment quickly that needs to be given, like whatever the harshest punishment, which is well publicized and which really deters such things in the future. And of course, it is, nobody could have believed it. And I also find, I'm no one, I have only media reports to go by, that the woman, there's not a single drop of blood there. Woman was murdered somewhere else and brought here. I mean, why would someone bring her back all the way 30 pieces and stuff her in her own fridge? When it would have been much more convenient to dump her anywhere, like, maybe in a pond, in some faraway place. You're going to drive the body in 30
Yeah,
pieces
those
all the way
details
back
are
to the
still
apartment.
trickling in. But, ma'am, I'd also want to understand from you, when there is an understanding that such comments should not be made, why are they made in the first place? These are our police
Perhaps to make
forces who
light of the
should be
situation,
even more
so that
sensitive than the non-police forces.
I think maybe it is because maybe to definitely it is to deflect from the fact that the police, the society should not be blamed for such a crime. It is because they were aberrant, that's why they suffered. Lots of very law-abiding, straight and narrow people suffer. And even this girl's behavior, I don't see much aberration there. She's a divorced woman or a separated woman. She has affairs. It is her personal life. That doesn't give anyone a right to kill her and, cut her up in 32 pieces. That is, to say that it has
Yeah, how
happened
does
because of
that
that.
come into play
No, there's
in
no
this
cause and
entire
effect.
horrific
There's no
crime?
causality here.
Uh,
No cause and effect relationship here.
yeah. Yeah. Tahira Hasan, I also want to talk about how such cases have become common, the kind of psyche that we are seeing, the kind of psychology that perhaps must be going behind such absolutely horrific and heinous crimes, that you're murdering somebody and then you're cutting their body into multiple pieces and stuffing it into a refrigerator. This is not the first case that we are seeing. We've seen that with the Shraddha Walkar case as well in the past.
Yes, we had seen that this type of heinous crime in the Shraddha case also. At that time also, we all was shouting at the top of our voice and doing the debates and all. But I'm saying that we only discuss and talk and debates going on and protest. After that, everything we forget and nothing is done. So I think the conviction rate, if really there is a political will to curb the violence, sexual violence, especially against the women, we must increase the conviction rate and they stop the selective outrage, and treat these type of culprits very strongly. It's not like that. We have seen that one of the three accused of the gang rape in the case of IIT BHU, when they were released, they got the warm welcome. So
Yeah.
these things, cannot be deterrent. You cannot curb the rising violence. You see this Ram Rahim, he gets parole, he's convicted in rape case also. So I think this we have to see in whole, to curb the rising violence. Why this violence is not stopping? In spite of this, we have very strong laws in our
Let
hands.
me get in Nirmal
Implement
Kaur ji
properly.
here into this. Yeah. Ma'am, help us understand. You've had an experience of dealing with criminals, of people who commit crimes. What's the kind of psychology that might be behind this kind of, heinous act? There is clearly no fear of law and order.
Definitely, this is what we call a sociopath or a psychopathic personality committing this kind of a crime, because after such a cold-blooded murder and then a even colder-blooded disposing of the body, that shows that you're not dealing with a normal human being here. You're dealing with somebody who's very, who has no guilt feelings, who has no fear. What we call basically a psychopathic personality. The thing is, with this kind of individualistic society, with lack of social cohesion that we are facing now. Earlier, psychopathy was always there, but they lived on the fringes of the society. Now, with increasingly they're joining the mainstream of the society. We have psychopaths amongst us in white-collar jobs and everywhere, in banks, in hospitals, everywhere. But we don't get to know them only because they're very sharp, they're very smart, they're very suave. They'll appear very normal, more normal than any normal person. And only when you have been their victim are you able
But
to
why
see
has that
through them
happened, ma'am?
clearly.
Why are we seeing this inclusion in mainstream?
Because the society now, we don't know our neighbors. There's no social integrations. There's no social, we don't know who's our next door neighbor in the village. Everyone knew everyone since they were children. Who's been an aberrant child, who's been stealing other people's fruit. I mean, all this goes up, that who has improved over time when they grew up, who is again, going around killing small insects and, helpless creatures like that. All this even early on shows a very psychopathic personality. Earlier, when everyone knew everyone, these kind of reputations were known. Now the people can come and pretend to be anything and we have to believe them. because we only go by how they get up, how they are dressed, what expensive clothes they are wearing, or how they pretend to be, how confident they are. But those kind of things now are more important than the real personality, the persona you put on, how
Tahira
you
Hasan,
behave
do you
in the
resonate with
society.
that? The fact that we are, we're placing more importance on the external rather than the internal?
Yes, and we are also, the facade is more important than the person behind it. We don't.
Ma'am, I'll come to you. Yeah,
Because much easier to.
yeah, I'll come to you. Tahira Hasan, you want to come in on this?
Yes, this. Just talking one aspect, I agree, but this. I'm saying it is a psychopathy personality, whatever personality it is. But if if the crimes are committed against the women, I'm saying again and again, we have been shouting this for 20-25 years, that if the crimes are committed, then
Yeah.
punish them, and conviction rate must be increased. There must be fear of law, whether you're psychopathy or not. How you will make it deterrent? Otherwise, the laws are made and they will not be a deterrent. They cannot stop this rising violence against the women. And this domestic violence, I say that we must treat it very seriously. When the young boys witness this kind of domestic violence in his own home, where the mother is controlled by the muscle power, by father is beaten in front of the small child. He thinks that women are second-class citizens. They can be controlled by the muscle power. So they also do it. They treat the women like that. So I always say this Domestic Violence Act, which has been implemented in 2005, must be taken seriously. And the neighbors also keep watch. If the voices are coming or something like that, they must intervene. We have stopped as society. We failed. We stopped intervening. We are so insensitive. You have seen in the Agra case where the one girl was going on the scooty and the 5 men on the bike were tried to pin her down, and the people are making video. Can you imagine? Ujjain, on the broad daylight, the girl was raped, and the people are making video. So what is this? There's a new law in society also. So
Let me
I
also
think
understand from
there's
you,
no
Tahira
fear of
Hasan,
law.
the kind of uncalled for victim shaming that we're now seeing in this case, what's the solution for it? You can't change a person overnight. You cannot change the police force entirely overnight. From where they're coming from, the kind of, perhaps the kind of psychology that they have, mindset that they have regarding all of these issues. There has to be a gradual change that happens, and there is training that's happening among the police forces, but that clearly is not enough. That clearly is not well implemented if these are the kind of remarks that come in such heinous and horrific crimes.
It's not the first time, it has been happening for such a long time. And
Yeah.
we women should not wait for that. In the Hathras case also, these type of voices are coming. कि इस तरह की बिटिया गन्ना के खेत में पाई जाती हैं, अरहर के खेत में पाई जाती है. I mean, character assassination of the girl who has been raped, they talk like that. Always the women's dress code and lifestyle is criticized for that. Nirbhaya case, what had happened? Said, why did she go with the male counterpart? Why did she go out in the night? There's a Lakshmana Rekha. Who has made this Lakshmana Rekha for the women? That is different for the women and the men. And why it is different for the men and the women?
Yeah.
This is when we have our rights in our constitution, it is enshrined in our constitution, Article 14. Why should we? We want freedom also.
Yeah.
It's a state to protect us or take the action. It's laws which have been made should be implemented properly, and these type of people, whether they are psychopathy personality or whatever personality, they must be punished. Conviction rates must be increased. Then only we can stop this. Not stop completely, but at least we can decrease this rising violence against the women.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We'll leave it there. Tahira Hasan and Nirmal Kaur, thank you very much to both of you ladies for joining us this evening and sharing your perspective on this entire case.